Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where last episode, the adventure of the unbreakable speckled band began with Kazuma having convinced Ryunosuke to stow away on the journey to Great Britain, staying within his closet where he was found unconscious 15 days into the voyage by Herlock Sholmes on discovery of Kazuma's body. Now finding himself in chains with Susato guarding the only possible perpetrator in a locked room murder case, we have managed to gain a little leeway with her by pointing out the place where Ryunosuke was found was itself sealed. Now investigating the cabin, with a weird man in a weird pose having suddenly appeared, who I'm thinking of just straight up ignoring so we can examine the rest of the room, because 100% he's going to progress things, right? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago, indeed. As far as I could tell, it looks like he might be European. Is that, like, yes, we Europeans often enter rooms with that pose and in that way, yeah. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? Sorry, I can't help but laugh him. I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall! Now, Hodo-san, don't tell me... Do you really not know who that is? From the back of her head, no. Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press X on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Or I could leave him there until the blood rushes to his head. Seems kind of mean-spirited, but there's all this to check out. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. No. Don't get that in your head. What's that? That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. God, there's a lot of stuff on the right side of the room as well. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why should I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship. Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Well, I'm guilty of something then. Meanwhile... What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? There's a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything in the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me? What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. You might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Niet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hear a nerve? Just for a minute there. He seemed a little flustered. Ooh. When I went for help, the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin. That's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabinet and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There'd be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. I mean, yeah, but this might be a hint towards that. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burlia. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There's a weapon right there on the floor. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Alright, most of the room's getting checked out at this rate. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training. Do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things are being thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Don't let her do that. We just contaminated the crime scene. Well, that sucks. Well, anyway, we've seemingly looked at everywhere that's of interest. Everything has tick marks on it now. The only thing that does not is Herlock Sholmes. So let's speak to this guy who might have passed out from blood rush into his head. We don't know. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, this is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Yeah. And how did you fit without, like, wrecking everything there? And how did that desk stay up? The bit leading over. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry, what do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction. Hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the belly bomb occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way Hiya! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Do you not? Oh, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see! What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ha! I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes. So, it's really you, the actual Herlock Sholmes. The very same, the inimitable, actual Herlock Sholmes. Sure. Copyright distinct. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? You must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Shall we converse with the inimitable Herlock Sholmes? The great detective that he is. I held you off while examining before this delightful encounter for a detective that doesn't seem all that great. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Hairlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rad's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, written in the Strand, eh? So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer recalls my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Okay then, mister, that was quite a spiel. Now, tell me about Kazuma's death, how you found him, etc. And why you instantly fingered me for the crime when I was in a sealed case too. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit of Mr. Naruhodo. Ah. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Tell me about your two facts and then your deduction. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. What? Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Could have observed his face. Wait. That is the Russian word for wardrobe, is it? Okay. Does it mean anything the other way around? Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that. In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderob may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of fairness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Well, you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too, and also now I'm a killer of revolutionaries? I observed you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. The Russian word for wardrobe in purple ink, it would appear to be written in the victim's final moments. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? What's that? Yes, certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Your deduction just now, sir. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace seduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russian via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No, how can it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ah, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place? Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me in these pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. Headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Sure. I look so like him. I guess I just shaved my beard. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. I have to do that on my own doing, do I? That would be the crown then, would it? A ballerina. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor could I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Article about a ballerina has been entered into the court record. I guess we'll leave that for now then, for the rest of it. I mean, our own article, which doesn't even look remotely like me, I could check out. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Indeed. Can I open this up? Unfortunately, it seems not. So, Mr. Sholmes, what were you just investigating when you were weirdly perched? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic! That's something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the actual reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Also, you recognize that as Japanese? Can you not make the link? Sadazo-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, and mikado. Nado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. This diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was I not showing off about before, then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Okay, we've added Kazuma's diary to the court record as well. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter wants further investigation, I believe. And if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. The great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Huh? You must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hey-ya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I could do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Well, it looks to me like something else is going on, probably because we've examined everything in the room already. So with another event about to take place, one that may end up with us possibly leaving this room, we leave you for yet another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. We'll see you for more Herlock Sholmes madness, probably, next time. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.